Guys, good morning. It is Tuesday, and for those of you that do not know my story, I'm gonna just tell you, nothing about my life has been easy. Nothing. And listen, what I'm realizing now, the older I get and the more I listen to podcasts and the more I read books and the more I follow successful people, do you know what I realize most of the time? That I would say probably 95% of people who are successful today had an awful upbringing, have a story that most people don't even realize. When you look at successful people, you know, it's easy to think or to believe that they must have had either it handed to them or somehow an easy way. And you know, it's crazy because even my own boys the other day, we were talking about something, and the oldest one said, "Mom, most people who have money, most professional people who are successful had it handed to them in some way." And shame on me, because the way that I raised them, they were so sheltered, and they just, I guess, didn't know about lots of people's success stories. My boys, for the most part, had an easy life. Listen, I expected a whole lot from them from the day that they were born. I read to them, I taught them, I worked with them. I was in education, so I knew how important education was. We worked our asses off to get them to be successful and to be driven and to work hard. But to say that their life was hard in any way, it was not. They were very much, I would say, sheltered. Very much sheltered. I worked so hard with them from the time that they were little to give them every opportunity that could be available to them that I did not have growing up. My mother never visited my school when I was growing up, was never a part of my education. We were expected to make good grades, or we got a beating, or we got severely punished, or we got all the things, but was never helpful with homework. We never had books in the house. My mom and dad were divorced when I was 6.5 years old, and she was a single mom working a million jobs. And so listen, it was rough, right? And so I knew from the time I was very, very, very young that I wanted a completely different life than I was being raised in. So I always just knew that every single thing that I was ever going to get and ever earn, I was going to have to work my tail off for it. And so that is exactly what I did. So every single thing that has come my way has come with adversity. Listen, I am so naive that in high school I did not know that you had to apply for scholarships. You actually had to apply for scholarships to get them. I had no clue. And so I remember sitting there at my high school graduation, listening to all the people's names getting called for scholarships. And I had probably graduated with about a 3.2 grade point average, right? Which means I was eligible for scholarships. I remember sitting there in graduation, mind you that my mother did not attend. She did not attend my high school graduation for a multitude of reasons. But I remember sitting there listening to all these names get called for scholarships to college, because listen, I was going to college come hell or high water. I didn't know how I was getting there. Actually, I was oblivious and thought that because I had a 3.0 GPA that I was just going to be given all these scholarships. I remember listening to all the names being called and waiting for mine, and my name never got called. And I remember after graduation walking over to someone and going, "Golly, I just thought I was going to get all these scholarships because I've always made good grades." And they say, "Well, how many did you apply for?" Listen, I literally did not know that you had to apply for scholarships in order to get them. So I got 0 scholarships. So then I say to my mom, "I need your tax returns so I can apply for college so that I can get a grant so that I don't have to take out loans." And she says, "Absolutely not. Nobody's looking at my taxes. Nobody's looking at my taxes." So guess what? I got a loan, and the next semester I got a loan, and the next semester I got a loan, and then about the third semester my dad died of a massive heart attack. I did not know he had refinanced his house, which meant we had to sell it, and I was homeless. And so then I had to move out, and I was still not quitting college. So I got an apartment by getting a Discover card and using a cash advance on the Discover card to pay for my rent. It paid for my rent, it paid for my groceries, it paid for my clothes, it paid for all the things. So imagine a Discover card and 1 million loans every single semester, because this was what I had decided. I was going to get a degree from college so that I never had to rely on anyone ever again. And because I had decided that I was going to get a degree, nothing was going to stand in my way. And yet, listen, over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten a couple of calls from people who are not happy in their current jobs, or who are not happy in their marriages and want a way out, and they want to get into real estate. All right? And a couple of the conversations I've had with them, they say, I just don't know if I'm smart enough. I just don't know if I can do it. Well, listen, if you don't believe that you can do it, then you've already set yourself up for failure. And I will tell you, when I got into real estate 5.5 years ago, because I was unhappy in education, I knew zero about real estate. But what I did know was that there's about to be a wreck right here. Hold on, y'all. Hold on just a little minute. What I did know is this, that whatever I decide to do, I am all in. I am all in. And I hear people say this all the time. I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to give this a try. Listen, it's not about trying. It's about making the decision in your head that you're going to do it. And then no matter what stands in your way, you're going to do it. Right? So when I decided to leave the school system after 20 years, listen, I'm going to just tell you, and everybody knows it, but I'm going to just tell you, it's not hard getting an education degree. It's not hard becoming a administrator or a supervisor. What's hard is the day in, the day out, the grind, the dealing with the parents, the dealing with the kids, the paperwork, all the stuff. But getting the degree isn't hard, right? So I had really done nothing that was really hard educationally. And then when I decided to get into real estate, I knew that I knew zero about it. But in my mind, I thought, it can't be that hard. It's real estate, right? It can't be that hard. Listen, it was hard. It absolutely was hard. I studied, and barely passed the test. But I knew that if I didn't pass it, I was going to study again for another week, and I was going to go take the test again. And if I didn't pass it, I was going to take it until I passed it. Because guess what? If you know, just in Acadiana alone, there are 1,800 real estate agents, all right? And I knew that, so I thought to myself, well, if 1,800 people just in Acadiana can pass the test, listen, so can I. So can I. So when you decide to do something, you have to go all in and decide you're going to do it and let nothing stand in your way. If you decide you're going to do it, go do it, and whatever it is, right? And listen, there are going to be people in your life that are going to say, "Oh, are you sure?" Or, "Look, are you sure?" Or, "All these people are already in real estate. The market is saturated." Listen, I have heard so many people say why you shouldn't do something. So what you do is you surround yourself with people who are going to support you, who are going to lift you up, and who are going to say, you can do it. You absolutely can do it. And listen, if you go look at my Facebook page right now, both of them, my personal and my real estate, I surround myself with people who are not belly achers, who are not whiners, who are not moaners and complainers. I don't like negative people. I don't like gripey people. And those kinds of people that I see, if it's a person on let's say on Facebook who always has a thraka, you know those people. Those people that are hypochondriacs, those people that are always sick, those people that always have some kind of complaint. Listen, I can't take it. So most of the time, I don't just unfriend them, I block them. I guess I shouldn't block them, but I do. I don't know why I do, but I do. So I have a list of people that I have blocked. I love being surrounded by people who love to work hard and who are going to give it their all every single day. So let's just relate this to, if you're thinking about selling, or you're thinking about buying. If you're thinking about selling, listen, preparing a home to hit the market, ready to sell, and to keep it show ready, if you're living in it, it absolutely sucks. It's not fun. It's not fun. It's not fun. I did it. I had a house for sale when my boys were about 6 and 2. 6 and 2 about. It's like picking up after 2 little Tasmanian devils all the time. Keeping a house show ready when you have kids living in it sucks. But I guarantee you it's worth it. It's absolutely worth the outcome, right? If you're a buyer and you say, I want to buy, but I just don't know if I'm ever going to be able to buy. I just don't even know. If you have that kind of attitude, you're probably never going to buy. If you're a buyer and you want to buy a house in the next few weeks, next few months, next few years, you decide you're going to buy a house, and then you do all those things that you need to do to save money, up your credit, eliminate some debt. Think about it before you go eat out. Think about it before you go buy another shirt. Think about it before you go buy another pair of shoes or another purse that you don't need. What is the priority? And if you decide that you want to be a buyer, then your priorities and your goals should line up with being a buyer, right? So, a buyer, a seller, if you hate your job, if you hate your life, let's just say you don't work. And you're in a situation where you're either married or you're engaged or you're living with somebody and you feel like you have no way out and you're miserable or you're in an unsafe situation. Listen, real estate can absolutely save you, because in real estate, it's all about doing what's best for people, working your tail off to prove that you can do what you need to do, building your reputation, getting the job done, and you can make it whatever you want it to be. Now, listen, I tell people every day, the first year I was in real estate, I netted negative $2,000. That's right. I made $22,000 and I spent $24,000. That's what my expenses were. So I netted negative $2,000. Now, listen, the next year, I made more the next year than I could have ever made as a supervisor at Acadia Power School Board, the second year, because of what I did the first year to set the tone for the next year and the next year and the next year and the next year. The next year, I made more than the superintendent of Acadia Power School Board, which is one of the reasons I resigned, was because they told me that I would never be superintendent. So my goal was to make more than I could have ever made as the superintendent. And I did it. So if you believe you can, if you absolutely believe you can, and surround yourself with people who are going to support you and encourage you and love you and not make you feel like you're stupid or you're too old or you're too this or you're too that, whatever. Surround yourself with people who are going to lift you up. And that's just not in person, that's on Facebook, right? On Facebook, on TikTok, on Instagram, I'm surrounding myself with people who I know, like, and trust, who know, like, and trust me, and who are positive, who are successful, who are all the things, because we are going to be the way that we are with other people. It kind of affects our attitude, it affects our motivation, it affects all those things, right? So surround yourself with a great circle of people. And listen, if you're living in a situation where your circle just sucks, listen, find another circle. Find another circle. You wouldn't believe me if I told you, being in real estate and surrounding myself with people in the lending world, in the inspection world, title attorneys, real estate agents, most of those people are successful people because they're not afraid of hard work. And they're not afraid what other people have to say about them. Remember this, what everybody else thinks about you or says about you is none of your business. It's none of your business what other people think about you. The only thing that matters to me is what God thinks about me, what I think about me, and what my boys think about me. Everybody else's opinion, I don't give one rat's ass about it. Not one bit. Y'all have a great Tuesday. And remember this, if you decide that you want to do something, just go do it. Go do it. If you have any questions real estate related, remember there are no stupid questions in real estate at all. 99% of what I know now, I didn't know 5.5 years ago at all. Ask your questions, ask your hard questions. And listen, if you're working with a real estate agent who doesn't make it comfortable for you to ask all the questions that you have, find yourself a new agent. They are a dime a dozen. We're all self-contracted. We all work differently. We all have our own pros and cons, our own strengths and weaknesses. My strength is negotiating for you, whether you're the seller or the buyer, to get you the absolute best deal possible for whatever situation that you are in. Y'all have a great, great week. Guys, in South Louisiana today, it feels like what it must feel like on the west coast of California. It is absolutely spectacularly gorgeous. So if you have not gone out today and you're in South Louisiana, go out, enjoy this weather, crack open your windows if you're home and get some fresh air in there, and y'all have an amazing day. Y'all take care.